Anyway, today is it is Monday, and this week we have coming up um, the day of Mabon. I think it's pronounced M-A-B-O-N, or maybe it's pronounced Mabon, which is the first of spring, which is on Saturday, the 22nd of September. And it's an interesting thing to bring up Mabon because of the fact is that we are entering a point in the human development where we have reached our technical limitations. And now we have reached our twilight years in our development of our society that we are currently in. Now, I have been watching a lot of the things on TV and listening to a lot of the stuff on the radio and of course talking to people in public, and have asked myself what is going on in the earth is that things are just getting a little bit weird, and things are not the way they should be anymore. I've mentioned that a lot to people, and some people have picked up on it, and others have said, nah, nothing's wrong. Everything's the same as it always was. Well, there is a change coming. Remember last year, around a few days before Yule, and I was talking about how I was decorating my apartment for the holidays, and I said, this year, talking about 2011 would be the last normal Christmas and season of Yule. I was right. It is going to be the last normal season. But it doesn't mean it's all going to be, go to hell in a handbasket that quick. But there is going to be a change. There's new changes in the energies around us. We see them everywhere. Things are not the same as they were a couple of years ago. You got things going on in the world that just doesn't make any sense. Uprisings, riots, diseases are running rampant, starvation, unprecedented droughts, unprecedented flooding. And that's because we are entering the end of an age. December 21st, 2012, according to the Mayan calendar, says it's the end of an age and possibly the end of their calendar as well. But it might mean more than that. We don't really know. We don't really have an idea what's going to come on as far as the calendar goes. So let me tell you what we know is coming on based on scientific evidence. Number one, in 2013, the sun is going to be hitting its solar peak. And already we've had a few glancing blows with coronal mass ejections here. Nothing show-stopping, but they are out there. And they are really, really frightening to think about how much power the sun could throw out of the way. It could easily disrupt everything that we love and embrace, even here at the Snow Queen Palace. But the sun's not the only fear we have. We also have an asteroid, possibly a near-Earth hit, or possibly a direct hit, because they say its projected path shows it's going to be lower than many of our geosynchronous satellites. Obviously, a few satellites get smashed in the process is very possible. It's called DA14. I don't like the letters DA because those are the two first letters of my last name, DA. And I don't like the 14 because that's Valentine's Day. From space with love? I don't think so. But on the other hand, there's also the fact is that for us here in the Eastern time zones, they say that this bad boy is going to come right so close to Earth that it might actually be captured by the Earth's gravity and pulled in around February 15th of 2013. Where it's going to go, no one really knows. It's big enough that it could cause definitely an Earth-level extinction event, depending on how it hits, when it hits, and, of course, where it hits. So, which is sad because that's 2 days after my birthday. Not looking forward to that. But I also wanted to talk to you today about something else. The reason why we're using the audio only is because I want to debut the microphone. It's the only part of the studio right now that is hooked up and working. And I thought instead of just lugging out the iPhone over and over again, which does not have a very good microphone for this kind of work, I would use the microphone I bought for the studio. It's not perfect. The microphone has problems. It's a PV. They call it a Pro. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's a Pile. It's called a Pro PDMIK1. When I first got it, it was a basket case in its own right. Even though I bought it brand new, there was problems with the cord. Primarily, it was the cord that had to be changed and fixed, and there was also problems with interference. And so we fixed that to make it hum less. And I think we've done a very good job on that, relatively speaking, using some scrap parts. Me and Lumi have been talking about a lot of different things about the studio plans, how we're going to do it, what we're going to do. I mentioned something about the CCTV cameras in the YouTube video, but now let me go into a little more detail because I think that's very important. First thing we have to get clear is how much money I have. I don't really have a lot of extra funds to throw around, so we have to often go for try to make best choice with a limited budget. And right now, I have my eyes on 2 different security cameras from Panasonic. The first one is the 330 series, and the second one is the 230 series. One is the BP330 and the BP334, and the second one is the CP230 and the CP234. The difference between the 0 and the 4s is that the 01 plugs right into mains outlet. You don't have to worry about transformers. You don't have to worry about all the other extra ancillary equipment to make them work. You just plug it into a mains outlet, plug in a video cable, put it on a tripod, and you're ready to go. And I'm finding that getting those cameras are a lot less affordable than the 24-volt AC version. And I'm finding that a little bit alarming because I really want to get a camera that I can feel confident with, that I'll be able to get it working right away without having to buy a lot of extra ancillary add-ons to make it work. Adjuncts is what we call them, such as extra power converters and things like that. But still, now the other thing that keeps coming up is, do you want to go with color or monochrome? Pros and cons for each. The color cameras are 480 lines of resolution. They'll get you a picture. You'll be able to see what you're doing. But the resolution is a little bit on the limited side. You can go with the monochrome, 570 lines of TV lines of resolution. That will give you a better screen picture. But it'll only be in black and white. But since most of my videos anyway are just mostly educational videos anyway, I guess that really wouldn't hurt to have black and white pictures in the studio. but I don't know how you or the audience would feel about that. This is where I really would like to hear from you about this. Why don't you take some time, talk to me. Let me hear what you got to say. There's a lot of things going on in the world. I can't do everything at once. And I can't fix everything at once. So, got to start building the studio project piece by piece. And as you can guess, the microphone was the first piece. Actually, the studio mixer, I bought that back in 1997. That one is actually the very first piece of the studio project. And since that time, we have been adding a little bit of equipment as we go every year. Originally, I started out as a Part 15 AM radio station, which I still am. This is also being broadcast on the radio as well, AM 1610. So for that reason, you can hear us there as well. If you're in the Winston area, it's low power AM. It's not doesn't go very far. But, you know, you can blame the FCC for not giving us ability to go a little farther. I've thought about going back to Shoutcast. I might consider going with Shoutcast because to supplement it. But you know, Shoutcast has got problems too. First of all, one of the problems with Shoutcast is it takes a lot of, you have to have bandwidth to send up the feeds. You know, how many audiences are you going to expect to listen to? See, it's not like radio broadcasting where I can just set one transmitter up and then as many as one to as many as 1,000 people can turn on an AM radio in their little home and hear it, and it's not going to degrade the signal. Okay, shoutcasting only gives you what they call streams. That is, each person, it's almost like each person is taking a wire from your studio and is plugging it into their computer. And as you only have so many, in this case, channels or available, i.e. jacks, if you want to call them jacks, you only can broadcast to so many people at one time. I don't even call it broadcasting. I really don't think broadcasting is even close to the appropriate name for it. It certainly is streaming, but it's not broadcasting. Okay. So, you know, we're just dealing with the same thing everybody else does, trying to figure out how to make things work and get things to, you know, everything is ready to go to work. Right now we're waiting for the cameras, so we're waiting to decide on October 3rd which one we're going to buy. And right now I've been watching, just watching. I haven't been actively bidding on anything because I don't have my money yet, but I'm going to watch the auctions and see how they're going with the cameras. It looks like the video cameras don't really sell very well. I don't know about the fancier ones that have, you know, high-powered features like something called SDI, whatever that is, Signal Digital Interface, System Digital Interface, something that's high definition. Camera is specially designed just for digital signals going from the camera to the computer board. That's obviously not an option for me, so we're not going to go there. I started out originally. I always loved the radio as a child, and I always listened to the radio every day. Back then, the radio had decent music on it, music that would make you happy, music that made you feel like you were part of something, like the world was okay, and that, you know, it all will be resolved. But then again, I started listening to radio when I was about 4, so clearly, as I grew older, I realized the world wasn't so simple. But that doesn't mean they don't like listening to the songs of my childhood. I love the songs of my childhood. I used to listen to so many things. And there was always something magical about radio. And, you know, the DJ would you know, speak in the microphone. And in my case, in Hartford, and I'd be listening to the radio signal up there in East Heartland with a little AM radio right next to my bed. It was always a magical thing going through the AM dial and pulling in signals from far away, and some of the other interference and the noise patterns in the stations were fascinating listening to as well. That's the one thing I miss with digital. It's those simple halcyon days when you could just pick up a small $10 AM transistor, 5 transistor radio with a 9-volt battery, and you could just walk around and pick up stations, the original wireless. Granted, it was only wireless one direction, but it still was a fun thing. It made my childhood so special to think of what I was listening to as a kid as radio. You know, one of the things that people don't realize is when I'm doing the radio show versus the TV show, it's a little different. I don't have to worry about what I look like. I mean, as far as you know, I could be wearing nothing. I could be stark naked, and I'm not. I'm actually fully clothed. My hair's askew. And it doesn't matter if my hair's growing out or not. You can't tell. That's one of the things the radio is great for is that all you heard was the voice behind the microphone, and then you could fill in your opinion of me. Fortunately, now you all see my videos. It kind of spoils that mystique. You know, it's just... You know, when I'm in front of the microphone, it's like yesterday once more. It's like hearing Carpenter sings. I'm doing the things that I love doing. I'm doing the things, to me, that is the most special, most blessed. Video is fun too, but it only adds more complexities to my life as I have to start worrying about what my hair looks like and what I'm wearing and the lighting and backgrounds, props. Radio, it's just my voice. Just my voice. So here. And I try to have my voice mean something. I try to make sure when I talk on the radio that I'm talking to you like I'm talking to a friend. Because you are my friends. The new studio is going to continue to be a radio and TV video studio as well. It's going to continue to... I'm still going to continue to focus on music. Because music is my spirit, is in my songs. Now, for those of you who heard some of the music before this broadcast, you probably found some of the stuff kind of interesting. Kind of eclectic. That's okay. Some of you may have liked it. Probably some of you are saying, can't you change the record, please? You can't have everything in the world you want. That's a fact. But as long as you have a dream, that's one thing that I want to point out. I have a dream. I know, that's a cliche. But in this case, I mean literally, I have a dream. My goal in life is to educate the public, to reach out, to inform, and to be your friendly voice in the night. When you're scared, and you're lonely, and you're cold. Maybe on the videos it's a little too formalized and staid, and I'm sorry about that. But you know what? Video is a whole different kettle of fish than radio. Radio, there's little more room for flexibility. And that's when your voice counts for more than anything. I love you as my listeners. I love that you watch my videos. So let's take some of that listening experience and take it to a video. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to get this up on YouTube as a video. I'm going to have to put something up there, a video, like a static image or something. This is the first time we've actually used this microphone with Audacity on the Mac to do this video, or in this case, audio. And it's going to be an interesting experience to see how it comes out. But the most important thing is I want you to know is that I love you. And I will be with you to the very end. Whatever happens. If on the 15th of February it's our last broadcast, it's up to the goddess. Maybe it won't be. I don't know. But the most important thing I want you to remember is always keep in your heart a glimmer of hope for anything that goes wrong in your life. Not everybody's life is halcyon, happy, and like the Elysian fields. I wish it was. It's not. Even for me, when I'm the North American Snow Queen, most people don't even know what that means. I have to get up in the morning. I have to look at the weather maps. Figure out the best way to make the fronts work. Determine the atmospheric pressure for regions, trying to figure out how much precipitation, what the dew points should be. Listen to my voicemail, see if there's any messages for any kind of particular weather requests. Do workings to make it possible to make their wishes come true, while not hurting anyone in the process. It's a tightrope. And sometimes it's a rope. It's a challenge to make everybody happy. But Mother knew that I was ideally suitable for this case because I have a good heart and a good spirit. And I have a good head on my shoulders. Mother doesn't make mistakes. Mother has always worked to try to make the best choices she can for the situations that she needs to make choices for, just like everybody else does. But the most important thing is that I don't want people to think that all the weather stewards and stewardesses of the Four Seasons, there's 28 of us. We handle 7 regions. 7 stewards and stewardesses for 4 seasons. Of each, that's a lot of people. Sometimes we try to communicate with each other and others to make good choices. And sometimes, because we are human, we're not infallible, we make bad choices too. And that's the reason why I try to balance my work with education and awareness activities as well. I'm not required to, but I made it part of my mission to go out there and add an educational component to my work. But there's sometimes I just wish that, especially this summertime, I really, really dread summer. And I just wish summer would I wish sometimes I could just knock me out cold for the whole summertime. Or maybe if I had a dual citizenship, say with Antarctica, where I could go where it's cold and icy in the summertime, which is their winter. And just, pardon my pun, chill out, but I can't. So, just like you, I gotta sweat through it all. But you know what? That's life. It's life. want to talk to you briefly about Mabon for a second, because I think Mabon is going to be an interesting experience for many of you who probably never realized what it is in the Wiccan Wheel year. It's obviously the beginning of autumn, but what is autumn? Autumn is the cycle of the earth goddess, Gaia, when she is now the old wise woman, sometimes called the crone, although I don't think the crone is really not a very comfortable word to be called a crone. But old wise lady makes more sense to me. It's when the earth is, she's already went through Litha. It's her teenage years. And, of course, Ostara was her youthful years. Then you had Litha, it's when she was an adult. And she brings the love down to the earth. And the earth is sprung forth of fertility and beauty. To Mabon, where we enter into the twilight years of the cycle of the year, when the earth sort of just kind of gets ready for the winter season. You can visualize her as an old lady, getting on in years, hair's turning gray, maybe walking around with a cane or a walker, maybe in a power chair. Smart, knowledgeable, educated. That's how you become a wise woman. You take your experiences of your life and you use them to educate people. And then, of course, she dies. That's the beginning of Yule. And then she's reborn again as a baby. A Snow Queen's job is not really to tend to the dead. It's to tend to the newborn. Or if you want to tend to the womb, when we're basically babysitting the unborn, and then we watch as the little fetus grows and develops. And then Nostara, she springs forth from the earth again as a little child. That's my job. And it's a job that has a lot of honor and a lot of praise to it. I love my job very much. So next time you think of winter, it's not a time of death. It's a time of rebirth. And the most important thing is this earth needs a rebirth in mankind as well. Mankind has reached a point in its fourth age where we cannot go any further. The age of mankind is also entering Mabon. As mankind declines and decays into chaos and disorder. In fact, maybe that's the reason why all this, the Mayans knew that, and they knew that was why they had felt that we need to get ready for the fifth age. The last new age of mankind. An age of enlightenment. Where we'll be like gods. Some Christians are saying Jesus of Nazareth is coming again. The Incas, the Mayans, the Aztec ancestors are waiting for their own messiahs around the same time. The Illuminati are unhappily waiting for the return of the Anunnaki. And they're not coming to be your friends. Now, we don't know if they're the Greys, or we don't know if they're some other race, but we do know that these people have created this earth monthly race for the purpose of mining gold for them. And God knows we've sure done enough of that, haven't we? Are we going to meet our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters? I would say yes, but the question is, are you ready to meet them? As an old Chinese curse proverb said, may you live in interesting times. Brothers and sisters, we are in those times. In every single day of our lives, we'll be seeing new times and new events and a new age. We don't know what the future holds. I don't, you don't. We can guess, but that's about as far as we can go. But the most important thing I want you to understand is just that I, the North American Star Queen, will be with you. Always. I hear your voices crying in the night. I hear the wailing and the gnashing of teeth. I know. I'm an earth stewardess. I'm a 9th level consciousness. I'm still growing. Still learning. As we all are. And I thank you for taking the time to listen to this. And we're not going to be doing really any more videos for at least for a few more weeks until the new equipment is purchased and secured and mounted. When we will be debuting the video studio as well. More than likely, we're going to be going with a black-white camera for now. I hope that's not going to upset you. I really do. But you know what? I've always been open for comments. Why you never contact me is beyond me. That's one of the things that I've always made it clearly obvious that you can always reach me through many means because I want to hear from you. Always. So peace be to you and peace to your family and friends. Fare thee well, and I will see you in October. Semper Fi. Carry on.